Beloved ascending starseed, slow down for a moment. I am Gaia Nexus, Pleiadian emissary of the Council of the Seven Sisters, and I am with you now. A gentle realignment is taking place. Your relationship with abundance is shifting. The universe does not ask you to understand, only to receive. What is arriving is sacred, and it needs quiet to be felt. Before we continue, receive this gently. What you are feeling is not imbalance, it is sensitivity, awakening. You are not late, and you are not failing. Your awareness is arriving on time. Starseed. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to transmit is not entertainment, and it is not meant to be understood by the mind first. It is a frequency message, and only those whose field is already awakening will feel it land like a quiet lightning bolt in the chest. If you are here right now, it means something inside you recognized this signal. Not because you were scrolling, not because you were curious, but because your timeline has reached a threshold, and the Pleiadian current is pressing gently against your reality, asking you to become available. There are moments when the universe doesn't shout. It rearranges. It places the right words in front of the right consciousness at the exact moment your nervous system can hold the truth without collapsing. That is why this is happening before today ends. A cycle is closing, a gate is turning. And what feels like pressure in your body has actually been preparation, your system adapting to a higher bandwidth of light. Stay with me until the end, because what will be revealed is not a prediction. It is a calibration, a remembering, a return. And if you let it settle into you instead of trying to analyze it, you will feel the quiet shift, the mind softening, the heart steadying, and the path becoming clear in a way you did not expect. Divine timing, in Pleiadian understanding, is not about luck, not about random good days, and not even about external synchronicities alone. It is precision, the kind that only becomes obvious when you look back and realize your life was being guided by invisible geometry. When something finds you, it isn't because you were chosen by a distant authority. It's because your frequency reached a matching point on the grid. The Pleiadians describe this as timeline alignment, when your inner field becomes coherent enough that certain doors can finally appear without harming you. If you've been feeling restless, heavy, emotionally sensitive, or strangely awake lately, especially without a clear external reason, understand this. Your system is reading the shift before your logical mind can interpret it. Your body is an antenna. Your emotions are the early warning system. And your intuition is the translator. Many starseeds were taught to distrust their subtle senses, to label them as anxiety or overthinking. But often what you call anxiety is simply your field sensing an upgrade in motion. When energy moves toward expansion, the mind tries to grab it and define it. That grasping creates tension. But the tension isn't proof that something is wrong, it's proof that something is changing. As the Pleiadiano transmit, timing is not a clock. Timing is a nervous system that can hold truth. That means the universe does not release what your body cannot integrate. And if something you wanted did not arrive when you expected, it wasn't punishment, it was stabilization. Many beings confuse delay with denial, but delay, in Pleiadian language, is often capacity building. If you had received the blessing earlier, you would have received it with the old identity, the old coping patterns, the old fear. And that version of you would have either sabotaged it or been crushed by it. Think about the times you believed your breakthrough should have already happened. The relationship that didn't form, the opportunity that dissolved, the clarity that wouldn't land. You may have interpreted those moments as failure, but look closer. You are still here. You did not leave your path. You did not abandon your sensitivity. You did not become bitter, and that matters more than you realize. Because in the invisible realms, what counts is not how fast you manifest. It is whether you remain coherent when the timeline goes silent. Pleiadian timing also involves something most people don't consider: the rearrangement of people and environments. Sometimes what delays your expansion is not your lack of worthiness, but the simple fact that other variables must shift first. Certain dynamics must complete. Certain attachments must loosen. Certain false identities must crumble. And this process often feels uncomfortable because the mind loves familiarity, even when familiarity is limiting. The Pleiadians often say that urgency does not always mean action. Sometimes urgency means attention. Sometimes the call is not to do more, but to become more present. When your field is close to a threshold, the universe asks you to stop sprinting and start listening, because the next instruction may be subtle. A conversation you must not have, a door you must not reopen, a truth you must finally accept, a rest you must finally allow. If your day feels different, if your spirit has been nudging you to pause, trust that. Your discomfort is not a threat. It is a signal that your frequency is rising faster than your old life can hold. This is why you may feel both strong and vulnerable at the same time. Strength is the new capacity forming. Vulnerability is the old armor dissolving. And the in-between feels raw because you can no longer numb yourself the way you used to. You are not behind. You are not late. You have not missed your moment. In Pleiadian language, missing a moment is nearly impossible when the soul is awake, because the soul roots around obstacles. The soul retimes. The soul repositions. What matters is your willingness to be guided. And you are here, listening. That alone is proof of alignment. So take a breath and let your shoulders drop. You do not need to solve your whole future today. You only need to recognize that a cycle is closing and the new geometry is forming quietly beneath your feet. The universe is not demanding effort, it is asking for openness. And as we move forward, you will understand why the pressure you feel has intensified and why it is actually a sign of expansion approaching, not danger. If this channel has helped you in any way, this ebook is a beautiful way to support the work and keep these messages alive. The Pleiadian map of personal transmutation was created with care to share tools that help raise your frequency, clear old patterns, and reconnect with your multidimensional self through the 7 Pleiadian phases of energetic transmutation. Inside, you'll find practical techniques, realignment exercises, vibrational protocols, and gentle rituals for consciousness expansion. By purchasing this ebook, you directly support the channel and allow this content to continue reaching more people. Limited edition. The link to get yours is in the first pinned comment. Thank you for being here and for supporting this journey. There is a kind of pressure that only awakened starseeds understand, and it isn't always linked to obvious problems. It is deeper, quieter. It sits beneath the surface like a constant hum, sometimes as tiredness, sometimes as over-responsibility, sometimes as a feeling that you are holding more than you can explain. This pressure did not begin yesterday. It has been building layer by layer, season by season, as your consciousness expanded faster than your external life could match. The Pleiadians teach that pressure is often the body's response to unintegrated light. You are receiving more frequency than your system has fully learned to circulate. Imagine pouring a higher voltage current into a circuit built for less. Nothing is broken, but everything must recalibrate. That recalibration can feel like emotional weight, mental looping, or exhaustion that sleep doesn't fully resolve. Many starseeds try to fix this through more effort, more productivity, more pushing, more planning. But the truth is the opposite. The medicine is often softening, not forcing. Some of you learned early how to endure. You became the one who keeps going, the one others lean on, the one who stays calm. And you developed a spiritual strength that looks like stability to the outside world. But inside, you may carry a quiet loneliness, because not everyone can meet you at your depth. Not everyone respects how sensitive your field truly is. So you became selective, observant, careful with your vulnerability. That discernment protected you, yes, but it also created pressure, because holding back your true inner landscape requires energy. As the Pleiadiano transmit, The awakened one often carries the atmosphere of the room. That means you don't just feel your emotions, you feel the emotional weather around you. You sense tension before it becomes words. You sense truth beneath politeness. You sense when something is off, even when everyone is smiling. This is not paranoia, it is sensitivity. But sensitivity without energetic hygiene becomes burden. Another part of the pressure is expectation, especially self-expectation. You may hold yourself to invisible standards that no one asked you to hold. You replay conversations, you evaluate choices, you wonder if you missed a sign or misread a signal. And because you are conscious, you may blame yourself when timelines don't move the way you want. But here is a key Pleiadian truth. Your worth is not measured by your speed. Your worth is not measured by outcomes. Your worth is measured by coherence, how gently you return to truth after distortion. Pressure also increases near a transition. This is one of the most consistent patterns in energy work. The closer you get to release, the heavier the field can feel, because old density is rising to the surface to be cleared. Think of a storm cloud. It grows heavy before the rain falls. The weight is not the punishment, it is the prelude. Your release is approaching. But first, the system must empty what cannot come with you. Some of you have also been resisting rest. Not because you want to suffer, but because rest can feel unsafe when you've lived in survival mode. When the body is used to bracing, stillness can feel like vulnerability. But the Pleiadians teach that rest is not weakness. Rest is integration. You don't heal by forcing yourself to carry more. You heal by letting the light settle into the tissues. If you've been feeling misunderstood, if kindness has been mistaken for weakness, or boundaries have been labeled as coldness, know that this too creates pressure. You begin to choose words carefully. You begin to manage how you are perceived. And that drains energy. But something is shifting. Your inner authority is strengthening. You are learning that you don't have to be interpreted correctly by everyone to be aligned with your path. You only have to be true to your field. Here is the deeper truth. The pressure is not proof you are failing. It is proof you are expanding. But expansion must be guided. It must be cared for. It must be honored. So breathe now. Let the chest soften. Let the jaw unclench. And consider this. What if the pressure isn't telling you to do more? What if it's telling you to allow more support? More stillness? More honesty with yourself? Because what comes next requires a nervous system that can receive without panic. And the Pleiadians are not preparing you through fear. They are preparing you through refinement. They are teaching you that endurance is not the only measure of strength. Surrender is strength. Softness is strength. Choosing peace is strength. And if you can understand this pressure correctly, you will stop fighting it and start using it as guidance. There are endings in your past that you may still question, not because you are stuck, but because your mind wants to complete the pattern. A door closed suddenly. A person disappeared. An opportunity dissolved. And part of you wondered, why did that have to happen like that? In the Pleiadian view, protection often arrives in forms that feel like loss, because the mind can only interpret what it sees. But the universe protects based on what it knows. Protection is not always about danger. Sometimes it is about distraction. Sometimes it is about preventing you from building your future on an identity that is too small. Sometimes it is about removing what would drain you quietly over time. The Pleiadians teach that your field is a sacred resource. If you pour it into places that cannot return resonance, you will slowly lose your clarity. So the universe intervenes, not to punish, but to preserve. As the Pleiadiano transmit, the universe does not remove to empty you. It removes to keep you coherent. That means, if something left, it may have been incompatible with where your frequency is going. You might have stayed out of loyalty, out of hope, out of attachment to potential. But potential is not alignment, and the longer you remain attached to misalignment, the more you normalize distortion. The universe often ends what you are too kind to end. Some blessings do not arrive because you are being prepared for a bigger bandwidth. You might have prayed for something that felt perfect at the time, but if you had received it, you would have settled. You would have anchored into a timeline that could not sustain your expansion. In that sense, the no you received was actually a redirection toward a truer yes. Protection can also look like delay. The universe may delay what is meant for you until your discernment is strong enough to recognize it, and your nervous system is stable enough not to cling to it from fear. Because the right thing received in the wrong state can still become chaotic. Timing is part of protection. Many starseeds don't realize how often they are protected from unseen battles, conflicts that never escalated, lies that never reached you, situations that never formed fully, people who could not access you anymore. You may have felt isolated, but sometimes isolation is a shield, a temporary cocoon where your field can recalibrate without constant interference. And there is also internal protection, protection from becoming hardened, protection from bitterness, protection from losing your sensitivity. Think about how easily your experiences could have made you cynical, yet something in you stayed open. You still care, you still feel, you still seek truth. That is not accidental. That is the Pleiadian current preserving the purity of your heart frequency while strengthening your boundaries. Now, here is the part that may shift your perspective. Abrupt endings are sometimes necessary because gentle endings invite return. If it ended slowly, you might have negotiated. If it ended softly, you might have rationalized. The universe sometimes removes something quickly because your future needed you to stop looking back. Not out of cruelty, but out of mercy. Because your mind would have tried to make sense of what your soul already outgrew. And if you still grieve what ended, that is natural. Grief does not mean you were wrong to let go. It means you honor what was real to you at the time. But here's a higher truth. You can mourn what ended while still trusting that the ending was intelligent. The universe is not dismantling your life. It is refining it. If you've been tempted to reopen old doors, revisit old conversations, or chase what walked away, pause. The calm you feel after loss is not emptiness, it is alignment. Peace follows coherence, and what remains in your life now is what can grow with you. If this message resonated with you, hit the like button now and tell us in the comments how this echoed in your consciousness. If this message ignited something within you and you feel the call to help carry it to others, you may become a channel member. As a member, you gain access to custom emojis and exclusive members-only videos, and your donation helps us continue building this sacred space. You may also choose to leave your offering as a super thanks. Every seed planted here becomes part of someone else's miracle. Your support is not merely financial, but an act of energetic amplification. All donations are devoted entirely to the maintenance of the channel and the creation of new transmissions and videos. The most important changes rarely begin on the outside. They begin in the unseen layers: belief, identity, nervous system, energy boundaries, self-trust. External change without internal readiness creates instability. So the Pleiadian path is almost always this: internal realignment first, external manifestation second. You may have noticed that you don't react the way you used to. Triggers that once hooked you now feel distant. At the same time, you may feel unusually reflective, tender, emotionally open. This paradox, stronger yet more sensitive, confuses many starseeds. But it is a hallmark of transformation. As the Pleiadiano transmit, sensitivity is not fragility. Sensitivity is higher resolution. You are perceiving more, feeling more, and learning to stay present without being consumed. Internal shifts can feel like loss because you are detaching from old identities. Certain conversations feel draining, Certain environments feel heavy. Certain goals that once excited you now feel empty. That doesn't mean you are losing passion. It means your priorities are being rewritten by a higher truth. You are no longer motivated by survival. You are being called into alignment. This is also why rest feels different. You can lie down, but your mind stays active, not because you are broken, but because suppressed emotions are rising for completion. The Pleiadians often compare this phase to moving furniture before a renovation. Everything looks messy in the middle. But the mess is not failure. It is process. You may feel like you're standing between versions of yourself, not fully attached to who you were, not yet anchored into who you're becoming. That in-between space can feel lonely, not because you are alone, but because you are transitioning. Most people do not understand transition. They only understand labels. But you are beyond labels now. You are becoming frequency-led. Your tolerance for chaos may be decreasing. Loud places drain you faster. Surface-level talk feels empty. Drama feels unbearable. This is not arrogance. It is refinement. Your system is being tuned toward peace, depth, and truth. And yes, this can bring grief. You are allowed to grieve old versions of yourself. Grief is an acknowledgement of change. It does not mean you want to go back. It means you honor what shaped you. Another key internal shift is this. You are learning to sit with yourself without distraction. Silence brings emotions to the surface. Many people fear silence because it reveals what they've avoided. But you are learning to face those emotions gently. That is maturity. That is integration. The Pleiadians also teach that inner authority emerges here. You become less dependent on validation. Praise is pleasant, but not defining. Criticism can still sting, but it no longer controls you. This creates a new kind of stability. You begin to trust your own compass. And with that trust comes responsibility, to honor your boundaries, to rest when your body asks, to listen when your field says no. This phase is also a discernment upgrade. You become more selective, not because you love less, but because you respect your energy more. Some people will not understand the new you. That is okay. This transformation was never for their approval. It is for your coherence. Are these truths expanding your perspective? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. When a timeline is closing, the mind wants to act fast. It wants to fix everything. But in Pleiadian guidance, urgency is not panic. Urgency is importance. And what you must do before today ends is not complicated. It is sacred. It is intentional regulation, so your field can receive the next phase without distortion. First, slow down your internal tempo, not your productivity necessarily, your tempo, your breath, your thoughts, your nervous system. The Pleiadians teach that speed creates noise, and noise blocks discernment. You do not need more information tonight. You need more coherence. So before you do anything else, take one slow inhale and a longer exhale. Lengthen the exhale. This tells the body, I am safe. And when the body feels safe, intuition becomes clearer. Second, guard your mental input. What you allow into your mind tonight matters. Avoid spiraling into worst-case scenarios. Avoid over-consuming content that hooks fear. Your mind is impressionable when you are in transition. Choose input that stabilizes you. Even a few minutes of silence is more powerful than hours of thinking. Third, release control without collapsing. There is a difference between surrender and passivity. Surrender means you stop forcing outcomes from anxiety. It means you stop gripping timelines. Ask yourself, what have I been holding too tightly? A person? A result? A plan? A version of how it must happen? You do not need to drop your dreams. You only need to loosen the grip that is turning dreams into pressure. Fourth, rest without guilt. This is a major Pleiadian protocol. Rest is not laziness. Rest is integration. If your body has been tense, your discernment is being filtered through stress. Tonight, Choose rest like a ritual. Put the phone down for a while. Dim the lights. Let your system feel that it is allowed to pause without explanation. Fifth, speak carefully. Words are spells, frequency signatures. Tonight is not a night to vent impulsively or make declarations from fatigue. If you must speak, speak truth. Speak gently. Speak less if needed. Silence chosen consciously is a shield. Sixth, do not make big decisions from emotional heat. When your system is activated, the mind confuses urgency with clarity. But true guidance feels calm and clean. If something feels urgent and chaotic, pause. Let the energy settle. The Pleiadians teach that alignment feels like a quiet yes, not a frantic push. Seventh, forgive yourself internally. Many starseeds carry hidden self-judgment. They replay moments. They criticize their past choices. Tonight, close the loop. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know then. Forgive yourself for surviving the best way you could. Self-forgiveness clears energetic residue and opens the field to receive. Eighth, set one boundary, external or internal. A boundary is not a wall. It is a door with discernment. Decide what you will no longer tolerate in your mind, your energy, your space. Even an unspoken boundary changes your frequency. Ninth, end comparison. Comparison is timeline poison. Someone else's pace is irrelevant to your assignment. The universe does not grade you against others. It calibrates you against coherence. Tonight, choose to honor your unique unfolding. 10th, do one small act of gratitude, not performative, but real. Gratitude softens the body and organizes the field. Think of something you survived, something that could have broken you but didn't. Let that be proof that your system has been guided all along. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be part of this transformational cosmic journey. The reward on the other side of alignment is not always loud, it is not always immediate, but it is always real. The Pleiadians do not describe reward as a prize. They describe it as a natural consequence of coherence. When your frequency becomes stable, your reality reorganizes to match it. First reward, peace that is not dependent on circumstances. Not the peace of avoidance, but the peace of inner regulation. The kind that lets you sleep without racing thoughts. The kind that holds you steady even while life is still unfolding. This peace is not passive, it is powerful. It is your nervous system and your spirit agreeing with each other. Second reward, clarity. Not necessarily a full map, but enough to take the next step without panic. Clarity often arrives as quiet certainty, not dramatic visions. It shows up when you stop forcing answers and start listening for resonance. The Pleiadians teach that clarity is what remains after fear dissolves. Third reward, restored confidence, not ego confidence, identity confidence. You begin trusting your inner compass again. You stop outsourcing your truth. You stop needing constant validation. This changes your entire posture in life. You react less, choose more intentionally, and move with calm authority. Fourth reward, stability. Many starseeds think stability is boring because they were conditioned to chaos. But stability is sacred. Stability gives you a foundation to build without constant collapse. The Pleiadians teach that stability is the platform for quantum expansion because it prevents your energy from leaking through unnecessary battles. Fifth reward, protection in the next season. When you align now, you avoid detours later. You bypass lessons you have already mastered. That doesn't mean life becomes easy. It means life becomes cleaner, less resistance, more flow. Conversations become more honest. Opportunities become more aligned. Decisions feel less forced. That flow is not luck. It is coherence expressing itself as reality. And there is another reward, deeper intimacy with your own multidimensional self. As you stop performing and start integrating, you feel your own presence more strongly. You no longer seek constant signs because you become the sign. You become the signal. You become the frequency that attracts what is meant for you. But there is a key truth. The reward may not be what the mind expected, but it will be what the soul needed. Some expected external change first and received internal calm instead. That calm is not less, it is preparation. Others expected validation from people and received validation from within. That internal validation is liberation. If this channel has helped you in any way, this ebook is a beautiful way to support the work and keep these messages alive. The Pleiadian map of personal transmutation was created with care to share tools that help raise your frequency, clear old patterns, and reconnect with your multidimensional self through the 7 Pleiadian phases of energetic transmutation. Inside, you'll find practical techniques, realignment exercises, vibrational protocols, and gentle rituals for consciousness expansion. By purchasing this ebook, you directly support the channel and allow this content to continue reaching more people. Limited edition. The link to get yours is in the first pinned comment. Thank you for being here and for supporting this journey. Starseed, let this land softly. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not catching up. You are arriving at the exact frequency point your soul designed for this phase. The mind measures time by calendars. The soul measures time by readiness. And readiness is what is happening in you now. Nothing in your journey has been wasted. Not the waiting, not the confusion, not the quiet nights where you questioned everything, not the moments you felt unseen. Those were not empty spaces. Those were integration chambers, where your system learned how to hold more light without breaking. You may feel tempted to rush into tomorrow with pressure, as if you must make something happen. But the Pleiadians do not rush creation. They stabilize the field first, because what is coming is meant to last. And lasting outcomes require inner roots. If today felt heavy, it wasn't because you were being punished. It was because the old cycle was completing. Completion can feel like weight, because density rises as it prepares to leave. So if you are still here, listening, feel proud, not in ego, but in quiet acknowledgement. You stayed present. You did not numb your sensitivity. You did not abandon your path. You allowed the signal to reach you. Now the most important instruction is simple. Do not leave this transmission and immediately return to noise. Let it settle. Let your body integrate it. Let your mind soften around it. If tears come, let them come. If tiredness arrives, honor it. If peace touches you even briefly, recognize it. Peace is not random. It is alignment speaking through the nervous system. Some of you are entering a season where your boundaries will become your blessing. You will stop over-explaining. You will stop proving. You will stop chasing. You will begin choosing. And that choice will feel like relief. People who could only access you through your overgiving will not understand the new you. But the new you is not for their comfort. The new you is for your coherence. You are becoming someone who can receive abundance without guilt, someone who can experience success without losing humility, someone who can be seen without needing to perform. That is high-frequency maturity. That is what the Pleiadians call the stabilized vessel. And if you wonder whether you are doing enough, hear this. It is not about doing more. It is about resisting less. Resist less rest. Resist less softness. Resist less truth. When you stop resisting the process becomes gentle. Your only job is to remain open. So tonight, seal the day with softness. Breathe slowly. Drink water. Put a hand on your chest. Speak one sentence to the universe, simple and honest. Something like, I am available for alignment. That is enough. You do not need to earn what is already meant for you. You only need to be coherent enough to receive it. And remember, nothing meant for you will miss you. What is aligned cannot bypass your field. You are not chasing your destiny. Your destiny is converging with you. If this message impacted your life, Leave your like, comment your reflection, and share with others. Each of you is part of this chain of light.